Jonah Jameson of the Daily Bugle has exposed Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man to the world, while simultaneously framing him as the individual responsible for Mysterio's death in an alleged mass casualty event in London. Numerous civilians nearby begin to surround him and Michelle Jones, forcing them to flee from the media and the police. They hide in Parker's apartment and reunite with May Parker and Happy Hogan, who reveal that they have broken up. Not long after, the United States Department of Damage Control take them along with Ned Leeds in their custody for interrogation. Parker hires Matt Murdock to represent him, who manages to get his criminal charges dropped. However, as Parker, Jones, and Leeds return to Midtown High for their senior year, the intense controversy causes them to be rejected from every college they apply to, including MIT. Parker visits the New York Sanctum and asks Doctor Strange to make the identity of Spider-Man a secret once more to get his friends into MIT. Despite being warned by Wong not to, Strange attempts to cast the spell with the runes of Cough Coal. However, Parker incessantly alters the spell when requesting various individuals close to him to be exempt from its effects. As a result, the spell becomes unstable, forcing Strange to contain it. For not consulting with college administrators before meeting with him, Strange furiously kicks Parker out of the sanctum. Contacting Flash Thompson, who was admitted to MIT, Parker is led to an administrator heading to the Alexander Hamilton Bridge in an attempt to appeal his, Jones and Leeds applications. Parker is suddenly ambushed by Doctor Octopus, who seems to know him personally. Doctor Octopus grabs him and rips out a piece of the Iron Spider armor, transferring its nanites onto his tentacles. He goes for another strike, but Spider-Man reveals his face, which is unfamiliar to Doctor Octopus. Spider-Man then takes control of Doctor Octopus' tentacles with the suit's nanites and rescues the MIT admin from falling off the bridge, who decides to help get him and his friends admitted out of gratitude. Green Troll shows up and endeavors to go after Bugman, yet he and Specialist Octopus are shipped into the Sanctum, where Odd detains Specialist Octopus and Reptile. He illuminates Parker that Specialist Octopus, Reptile, and Green Troll are not of this universe, but rather from equal real factors inside the multiverse, who were maneuvered into this reality by the bombed spell since they know Insect Man's character. To contain this spell, Peculiar secures it in the Machina de Cadavis, an otherworldly control unit. Parker is recruited to help find and capture these visitors, receiving a magic-based upgrade to his suit. With assistance from Jones and Leeds, Spider-Man locates Electro outside the city. Startled, he attacks Spider-Man and gains the upper hand, but Sandman intervenes to shield the hero. The two work together to cut the power lines, which fully restores Electro's body. When he is sent to the Sanctum, Sandman believes Spider-Man killed him, but is also captured before he can retaliate. Elsewhere, Norman Osborn attempts to escape from his Green Goblin persona, breaking his mask before fleeing to a FEAST facility seeking refuge. Spider-Man locates Osborn thanks to May and brings him to the Sanctum as well. Osborn, Doctor Octopus, and Electro soon realize that they died and were resurrected by the spell, meaning that if they were to return home then they would perish. Strange explains to Spider-Man that these three are doomed to die fighting their own Spider-Man. He intends to use the Machina to reverse the spell and send them back to their fates for the sake of the greater multiverse. Convinced that they can be cured of their antagonistic natures and be spared from death, Spider-Man steals the Machina before Strange can use it and flees. Strange gives chase, takes Spider-Man's magic back, and sends him into the mirror dimension to retrieve the Machina, while also trying to implore him of the multiversal stakes relying on the visitors being sent back. Unfazed, Spider-Man entangles Strange in a web matrix and steals his sling ring before returning to the earthly plane. He passes the ring to Leeds and the Machina to Jones before releasing the prisoners from confinement. Taking them to Hogan's condominium, Spider-Man attempts to administer cures for the multiversal refugees. He starts with Doctor Octopus, using a Stark Industries fabricator to engineer a replacement inhibitor chip for his tentacles and restore his higher brain function. In addition, Electro has an energy siphon installed into him which is designed to extract his powers. But before he could affect Osborn, the Green Goblin persona takes over his body, who persuades Electro to remove the siphon before it can fully take away his abilities. He steals an arc reactor and, drawing its power, blasts Octavius out of the building. Lizard, Sandman, and Electro escape, while Green Goblin attacks Spider-Man, sending him to the ground floor. Running outside, May injects an antidote into Green Goblin, which doesn't work. After striking May with his Goblin glider, Green Goblin tosses 2 pumpkin bombs, which Spider-Man fails to block and explodes in their proximity. Spider-Man manages to locate May in the rubble. Unaware that she had been gravely injured, May tells her nephew not to give up helping others despite all odds, lecturing him that with great power comes great responsibility. As DODC officers surround them, Spider-Man tries to save May, to no avail, as she passes away in front of him. Hogan arrives on the scene and is immediately apprehended by authorities. Grief-stricken, Spider-Man flees, his guilt worsening with Jameson's gaslighting coverage of the attack. Growing worrisome after Spider-Man's silence, Jones prepares to activate the Machina, but Leeds manages to open a portal with the sling ring by accident. Attempting to find Spider-Man, they see what seems to be their Spider-Man on the other side of the portal, calling him over. However, they soon realize that this Spider-Man is not theirs, but rather one from another universe that previously fought the Lizard and Electro. Leeds tries again, but summons yet another alternate Peter Parker, who previously fought Green Goblin, Octavius, and Sandman. The group finally managed to find their Spider-Man alone on top of Midtown in attempt to console him about May, but he is too distraught about his mistakes to even care. Before he can use the Machina to send the multiversal travelers home, the other 2 Parkers begin sharing their own personal experiences of loss and bitterness to help him cope and realize that he is not alone. A cheered-up Spider-Man then decides to do what he planned to do, heal the villains. The Parkers, Jones, and Leeds then retreat to a classroom laboratory in Midtown to create the cure for the villains. Osborn's Parker engineers an anti-serum for Green Goblin as Electro's Parker recreates the Lizard antidote to return him back to normal, while Spider-Man prepares the cures for Sandman and Electro. Afterwards, Leeds brings them to the Statue of Liberty via portal as he and Jones remain in the lab. Spider-Man calls into the Daily Bugle to broadcast a message, using the Machina as a lure while announcing his presence to Lizard, Electro, and Sandman. They arrive and attack the 3 Spider-Men on the scaffolding. The web-slingers are unable to coordinate effectively, which leads them to be easily overpowered by their enemies. Grouping up, Spider-Man assumes command of the trio due to his experience as part of the Avengers. The 3 adopt code names: Spider-Man is Peter 1, Osborn's Spider-Man is Peter 2, and Electro's Spider-Man is Peter 3. They decide to engage and cure one enemy at a time, with Sandman first. After restraining Lizard, Peter 3 retrieves Sandman's cure and passes the device to Peter 1, who then delivers the cure to Peter 2, allowing Marco to be neutralized. The 3 Spider-Men attempt to take the arc reactor from Electro, but he proves to be too much of a match for them due to his increased power from the energy source. Lizard breaks free and attacks Jones and Leeds in the lab, forcing Peter 1 to leave and fight him. With the help of Leeds and his sling ring, Peter 1 forces Lizard to break open a bottle containing the antidote which reverts him back to his human form, Kurt Connors. Leeds accidentally summons Strange to the battlefield who, upon seeing Connors, realizes Peter 1's pacifist plan is working. Strange grabs back the Machina and his sling ring from Leeds. Peter 2 and Peter 3 are overpowered by Electro, until Octavius arrives to extract the arc reactor himself and render him powerless with the finished neutralizer. Peter 3 reconciles with Dylan while Peter 2 warmly reunites with Octavius. Peter 1 returns to Strange as he prepares to use the Machina to send everyone home. Suddenly, Green Goblin ambushes the group and takes the Machina, but Octavius and Strange grab it back. Unbeknownst to them, Green Goblin had snuck a pumpkin bomb inside the object. It detonates and releases the unstable contained spell, tearing the fabric of the universe and opens it up to the multiverse. The blast also causes Jones to fall from the Statue of Liberty. Peter 1 dives to rescue her, but is knocked aside by Green Goblin. Peter 3 saves her, and begins to tear up as it reminded him of the night Gwen Stacy died. As dawn breaks, Peter 1 confronts Green Goblin alone. Ravaged with vengeance, he viciously beats him down and attempts to finish him off with his glider, but is stopped by Peter 2. This however leaves him open to get stabbed in the back by Green Goblin. Peter 3 provides Peter 1 with the anti-serum, allowing him to cure Osborn from Green Goblin. He notices Peter 2's injury, which is non-fatal, and realizes the extent of the damage he had caused. Strange struggles to hold the rifts in the universe together, in which intruders are already preparing to invade this reality. However, Peter 1 has him enact a new spell to make everyone forget who he is to fix it. Afterwards, Peter 1 embraces his alternate selves, who encourage him to continue on as Spider-Man. Strange repairs the rifts with the new spell and successfully transports Peter 2, Peter 3, Dylan, Octavius, Osborn, Marco, and Connors back to their origin universes. Spider-Man embraces Leeds and Jones for a final time, while promising to return someday and help them remember him. He then departs as Strange unleashes the spell, leaving the entire world completely oblivious to Parker's existence. A few weeks later, it is now the holidays. Parker tries to reconnect with his MIT-bound friends, but after being reminded of Jones' wounds, he decides not to. He visits May's grave to pay his respects and is joined by Hogan, who is also now a stranger to him. Contending to carry on with his new life, Parker moves into a new apartment alone and begins studying to earn his GED. Alerted to criminal activity on his phone, he stitches together a simpler suit and resumes his heroics undisturbed as Spider-Man, honoring May's mantra of community service and responsibility. In a mid-credits scene, the universe-displaced Eddie Brock and his symbiote companion Venom sit at a bar and talk with the bartender about other superhumans and the blip. While pondering how to protect this new world, the duo is swiftly transported back to their universe by Strange's spell, unknowingly leaving a part of the symbiote on the counter. Thank you for watching and see you again in another movie.